Hey, everybody, we have a really great show for you this evening. I can't wait. On our Halloween Spooktacular, we've had some great guests, and we'll see them right after this. What's up?
You call me rocking out.
I did, but it's okay. It's okay that you're rocking out. This is good. I'm thinking, you like the music. That's a great thing.
Oh my God, yeah, it just rocks, man. I can't wait to see what you do after Halloween.
Oh God, for Christmas? Yeah, let's see what comes to mind after Christmas and everything. Well, anyway, we need to get into it because we are late. We apologize, you all. We were holding out for the best. And the best of the three people that we have coming on tonight. Well, he's not the best, but he's one of the best people that are coming in tonight. We got three really wonderful people. One was a surprise, so we're really excited about this. I mean, we were holding out to get this great team for you all to see this evening. So without further ado, we're going to bring them in, and I'm going to have Ralph use his announcer voice on the first one. The one and the only Mr.
Dirk. Oh, wait, you changed it. Greg Wright.
I wasn't sure if I should.
Greg, you can do some kind of like a special transformation spell.
Right? Yeah, there we go. No, I was covering myself up. I was like, oh, don't reveal me yet. It's Dirk's.
No. So you all, if you don't know who Mr. Greg Wright is, if you know Monstrous, then you know Greg Wright, right?
Yep, exactly. And I've got a comic book that's in pre-orders right now called Wild Bullets. The new Holliston comes out this Wednesday. And I also wrote Claim and Tabloid, and I could talk about all that stuff. This is my favorite time of year. I love Halloween. I got so much to talk about.
We do too. And then we're going to bring in the one and the only Mr.
Dirk Manning.
I was in there, I thought for sure we were gonna no sell this and have Greg answer all the questions as me answer them as Greg. But I couldn't keep up with this pun game. That's the problem.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's some game,
Greg
man.
has a mean pun game.
That could have been our Halloween costumes, Greg. You could have been me and I could be you.
Oh man. I would have been like an oil Dirk. I would have taken it to a pun costume level with.
All right, they have the vanilla ice. Oh my God, the possibilities are endless. Are you doing Cherry Capital Comic Con this weekend?
Yes, I am. I will be there. So
we gotta talk about that.
You know what?
Although after that bumper, I was thinking I was hungry for apples instead of cherries. I was
apples. You got to eat apples this time of the year. But wait, we can't talk any further before we bring in our other guests. So we got to complete this table of three, and
Rich, because it's touch and go for a minute there. We thought, well, okay, Greg and I are gonna look pretty good, but now that you're here, it just killed us. It's like
I don't know why he's got to lump me into this.
We were rocking a hard 4 before. Now we're back down to at least I'm not down like a 0.75. Greg's at least a 2.
Hey, we're all top 5 of the people on here, so that's something, right?
Thank you, Professor.
Nobody looks at faces; they look at brains. So
yep,
that doesn't help.
And all of you all have beautiful brains, so it does help.
Brains.
Well, anyway, tried to come after me. He'd starved to death.
Oh gosh, no. So anyway, you all, let's talk about what's going on because we want to get into the second half of our show, which is, we're we're gonna get through all the what you guys have going on, your fundraisers that are happening and stuff like that, so we can get the audience to get out there and support you. And then we're gonna talk about our favorite time of the year, at least my favorite time of the year, the things that I like to watch, which are vampire films. So let's do this. Do I have like a little echo going on?
I don't hear it.
Okay.
I'll hear you
just
fine.
me. Okay. All right. So let's talk about all of the let's talk about first. Let's talk about you and Cult of Dracula.
Yeah.
So we talked about Comic-Con this week or 2 weeks ago when we went to Comic-Con and everything.
Yeah.
We went to you all's table, which was absolutely fabulous.
Oh my God, yeah.
And
Thank you.
we were talking about your designs for Cult of Dracula, in particular the one that you were issuing that you only had like 2 copies left at the end of the night.
Yeah.
So we were so disappointed because I came back to get it and you all had already gone.
Yeah, we came back to the table and the table was empty. There was nothing there. Everybody was gone. We were like, okay.
Yeah. The last day of New York Comic Con, I mean, it just what happened. One of the spec websites announced some of the television series news. And so the spec just went nuts at New York Comic Con. And I think on that last day, we sold out of just about everything. One retailer came in and bought close to 1,000 copies of different issues of Cult of Dracula. So,
Wow.
you know, we made the Frankie's top 10 spec books, and then Go Collect put us on their spec spotlight, and it just exploded again from there. So I'm sorry you guys didn't get a copy.
Well, I was actually trying to get Ralph to talk me out of it, to spending the $100 for the cover, but the cover was so gorgeous. And so finally I just was like, let's just go back and get it. And then when I went back, you all were gone.
No.
So yeah. And then I found out on your webpage that you had only 2 left and that you all were supposedly like auctioning them. So I'm totally missed out, which is something that Dirk said about it. Listen, you need to go ahead and buy it. If you have an inkling to buy anything, go ahead and buy it, because
you don't know if it's going to be gone or not.
Yeah.
Especially the Source Point Press stuff right now. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or toot the horn of my fellow creators here, but
stop tooting my horn, man.
Yeah. But Greg, no, we're not going there. But that's just where things are at right now with Source Point, man. We've been hitting on all cylinders left and right. You know,
absolutely.
So more than ever, if you see something that a Source Point creator is putting out that you want it, and this wasn't a softball from Leslie. I mean, you know, Leslie, you got to get them.
Yeah,
you gotta get them.
Yeah.
Get them while you can, or because they won't be there long.
Yeah, and then you're absolutely right, and I was victim of that. I did go to Dirk's table though and bought up a good $160 worth of stuff.
You bought half the table.
What? I sure did. I was in a spending mood, and that's, you know, I had money to burn, and it was burning through my book bag.
So Rich, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Spent
it with you.
Right.
I
have no problem being second place to you on this one, brother.
No, I had $100 for Rich. I did. I went over there. We talked about it. We had a really nice conversation, and
she had already bought 1 or 2 of Rich's books, so she was trying to figure out, do I buy this or do not buy? I got the book. I got the other book.
Right.
Yep. And
you can see, I mean, poor Rich, the lights are going out at his house now.
He's in his car, folks.
Right.
So
it
Greg,
got dark all of a sudden.
Lean over and open, right.
So Greg, we want to talk about Monstrous, which was actually when I met Greg a long time ago. It's one of the first books that I got was Monstrous.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm glad.
Yes. So I have it here. And I have to review it because I did read it a long time ago, but a lot of stuff happened in that time, so I haven't had a chance to actually review it. But I did read it, like I read all my comics, and I have people staring at me while I was on the subway reading comic books, but I don't care. You know, they're like, "What's this old lady doing reading comic books?" But anyway, yes.
What are you doing staring at people on the subway?
Yeah, right.
You know, I just
Yeah,
look
you don't
up.
scare
I just
people on
look
the
up.
subway, not even in New York, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, they stare at me, look at it, and I go, "This is really good. You got to get this. Is really good." That's what I do. So anyway, tell us a little bit about what's going on with you and Monsters. You have some new stuff coming out as well.
Yep. We got 5 volumes of Monstrous, so 5 collections at this point. There will be a 6th one coming out next year for telling a mummy story called The Book of the Dead, and the most recent one, Heartbreak and Blood Loss. There are a couple vampire stories. There's a Dracula story in there,
Ooh.
but you know, my Dracula has a smaller cult, right? But
I can't wait to read it, man.
I wish I didn't gesture with my fingers like the size of my cult.
Like this one.
Yeah, it's this big. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's another one about a monster hunter who marries a vampire and their marriage, you know, sucks, obviously.
Oh,
It's a lot of fun stuff. And yeah, there's like ghost pirates and robots and werewolves, mad scientists. There's all kinds of fun stuff. Also this week, the 3rd Holliston is coming out to some stores, but not all because of the supply chain nonsense that's going on with the pandemic. And that's Holliston Goes to Hell. So it's the cast of the Holliston series. We've done a couple graphic novels with them, and in this one, they go to hell, which is, you know, fun and all the best stuff in one place, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I heard.
Yeah, I got some other projects in the works, but those are the biggies right now that I'm really, really charging and rooting and cheering for.
Okay, yeah.
I just got to ask real quick. You got Wild Bullets on the horizon too?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Thank you for asking about that. Yeah, that people can pre-order that right now. And there's in November the Thanksgiving story's coming out. In December the Christmas story is coming out, and in January the New Year's Eve story is coming out. So it can match up with the months that they're coming out, and we're eventually going to collect it and call it Homicide for the Holidays. It's a lot of fun.
I love that.
Genre mashup
for the holidays.
where each of the Bullet family takes a turn telling the story, and when they do, a different artist takes over a different style and genre.
Nice.
Crime and sci-fi and horror, adventure, war stories, cowgirl, romance, all kinds of cool stuff in one thing. So really cool stuff. Please stay tuned for it. And yeah, as Dirk is saying, the reason I'm talking about that now is if you go into your comic shop and pre-order it, that does them and me a world of good, because then we know who's out there, who's looking for it, and we get a better, more accurate number of stuff, of copies. So yeah, please pre-order it.
Okay. We're going to actually post all of that information so that you all can go and take a look at it, and make sure that you all support our artists tonight. And let's talk, Dirk, you have something going on. So we definitely, we spoke before everybody got on about Tales of Mr. RHEE and what's going on with that. So I'm reading that right now. It's my first time reading it.
Leslie, you can just light me up. I know you're going to, so just do it.
Uh-oh.
But so this is what I'm reading right here.
Yeah, volume 1.
Volume 1. Okay. So I have to tell you all that I did read this, and I'm halfway through it. And one of the things that I said to Dirk after reading the book was, like, there were moments when I was reading the book that I just stopped and went, what in the hell am I reading? And what am I seeing? Now, not in a bad way, in a good way. In a good way. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they went there. There was something in particular that's totally shocked me and just threw me for a loop when I was reading it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to see what happens and everything. The story is so scary, creepy, wackadoo. I don't even know what to say about it. And I honestly have to ask you about that. Like, where does that stuff come from? I would never in my wildest dreams have thought of some of the stuff that's in that book.
I just got like 5 pull quotes from that. So thank you. That was awesome. Before I started Tales of Mr. RHEE, which actually launched as an online comic way back in the day on June 6, 2006. 666.
Wow, 666.
Yeah, that's when we launched it. And it was just it was a spinoff of Nightmare World, but also its own thing. The reason I bring this up is at that time, Nightmare World was in syndication as an online comic. Nightmare World is very classic Twilight Zone style horror. not a lot of on-screen violence per se, much more cerebral. And that's not to say that Tales of Mystery is not cerebral, because I think it is. In some ways, I think it just is. It's the most complex, I think, horror comic I've ever done. But I also wanted to kind of break away and show that other side of horror, which is that more brief explosive moments of horror and just terror. And Leslie, we were talking off the air about the thing in the first chapter where a guy is trying to learn to control demons by summoning them through unborn children, through the fetuses of pregnant women, hoping he can control them when they're small and then, get them from there. And it's horrific. It's a horrific scene. And that's the first chapter of volume 1, because I wanted to come out of the box showing people this is different. This is going to be intense. And there's going to be a lot of stuff in that book that I'm just going to tell you right now is going to wreck you a little bit, because I'm not big on violence as a storytelling device. I think it's just not my bag per se. I think to do it effectively, and I know we're going to talk to Rich in a minute with Cult of Dracula, he does a great job of these explosive moments of violent horror. And that's something that I wanted to do, like those shotgun blasts with Tales of Mystery. It's this creepy, slow burn Cthulhu mythos and horror noir with explosive moments of violence. I'm going to tell you right now, Leslie, dude, you have not even seen the most horrific stuff in that book yet.
I was totally blindsided by that. Because exactly when you're reading about how this person is trying to control demons and stuff like that, I never even imagined it would be in that way. And so that's why I was shocked.
Good. And you're going to see stuff that is a lot worse. I mean that in a good way, Wow. But I mean, I want to talk horror movies and stuff later, and there's certainly a place for very well done, very disturbing horror. Things like Martyrs and things like that are violent, nasty, vicious films, but well done. And I can appreciate that. And with Mystery, it's fun to be able to get into that time to time. But also, the key is never to be exploitive, in my opinion. Everyone has their own take.
I agree.
I don't like to be exploitive, So I'm glad it worked. And I'm glad that someone that is reading the series for the first time got into that first chapter, gets to that scene when, like you said, like, what in the world this was going one direction, now it's going somewhere else. But this all ties into Tales Mystery Volume 5, which is now on Kickstarter. Trying to catch up to Greg, but I found out he's already busting out number 6 of Monstrous. That's fine. But
it helps because not any good, so that helps.
Shoot. But well, I'll get you on page count is what I'll do, because what we're doing is we're doing a doubleheader Kickstarter for Tales of Mystery, and people can just go to talesofmystery.com or look up RHEE, RHEE on Kickstarter. We're doing an omnibus of the first 4 volumes, including volume 1 in full color for the first time, because the original standalone trade paperback is black and white, but the rest of the series is color or grayscaled. And then we're doing volume 5, which is called Rockstar Paranoia. Volume 1 is 550 pages of an omnibus of the first act of Mystery.
Wow.
The whole first story arc is these 4 massive volumes. And then volume 5 is 140 pages just on volume 5. Doing a both book special on the Kickstarter, which is basically a pre-order engine. You can get both books, free US shipping, $85 for 700 pages of comics. Plus all the stretch goals.
Yo,
that's a deal, man.
That's awesome.
That means you get all 5 volumes in one shot.
Everything. Yeah, everything. James O'Barr, the creator of The Crow, did the fully painted cover to the omnibus, the Act 1 omnibus.
Beautiful.
Richard Lang, who did a lot of work for the Cthulhu Wars board game, did an amazing Cthulhu cover to volume 5. And $85 free shipping with all the stretch goals. So far, we've unlocked a sticker. We've unlocked a double signed book plate by me and artist Austin McKinley with a custom head or a remarked head sketch on it. We just unlocked the first bonus story. We've unlocked 5 stretch goals in 6 days, doing a 30-day campaign. And our hope is the ultimate stretch goal is a free download of a Tales of Mystery video game.
That's cool.
Yeah, I swear. It's called Tales of Mystery Punch All Monsters. And if we get it, and we're over halfway there now. we're well over halfway there. It'll be everyone who backs the campaign at the omnibus hardcover or above or both or beyond will get a free Tales of Mystery downloadable video game. Tales of Mystery Punch All Monsters. It's like Joust, but instead of ostriches, Austin described it. Instead of Joust, there's monsters. It's like an Infinity Fighter, 16-bit downloadable video game for free.
That's awesome.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you. You can go to talesofmystery.com and pre-order right now.
All right, you heard
Remember, the more
that,
people
you all.
pledge, the more we all get. It's just we're in a stretch goal party
Absolutely,
right now.
yeah,
That's
hell
the name
yeah.
of the game.
Fantastic deal.
Definitely going to go back to that. I want the
So-
video game.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I think we are.
I appreciate it, Rich.
If you share, it's right there on the bottom, ready to share, so they can see on the page.
Oh yeah, be careful. Yeah, show it up real quick.
Okay, let's do that.
There we go.
There it
Look at
is.
that.
Bring
Bam.
it up a little bit. Bring it up a little bit.
I
Can
got
you?
you.
Oh yeah, and you can scroll down and see the James O'Barr cover and the Richard Lang cover. So look at that cover. That's volume 5.
Nice.
And also with the Kickstarters, you get a Kickstarter exclusive hardcover edition of the book. We will
Nice.
never reprint it in hardcover. This is the only time you get it in hardcover. Then there's the,
The
Jim O'Barr
omnibus.
cover, the omnibus. So yeah, it's cool. But yeah, we want to unlock that video game. We got beanies, or as Greg Wright dubbed them, Reenie. They're Mr. Reenies. They're hats with like a sigil.
I didn't say that.
But you would have if I gave you the opening. There's the statue. Oh yeah, there's the statue. We only making
Awesome.
13 of those. That's in the False Idols pledge level,
Oh, that's so cool.
right? And in the False Idols, you get both books in the statue and the Reenie. There's a stretch goals. We're blowing through those, and yeah, it's fun.
Awesome.
Wow.
We're unlocking the bonus
Wow.
comics now. You're gonna get 2 bonus stories, a print copy of both of them in print. James O'Barr graciously agreed to sign book plates of his print, or sign his print for everyone. You get an autograph by James O'Barr from The Crow for free in the campaign. We'll do that. And that last one, the ultimate stretch goal, the video game, Tales of Mystery, Punch All Monsters.
Unbelievable.
We're getting there.
good.
Thanks to everybody. So, and
Loving
speaking
that.
of Kickstarters too, I'm going to do the volley. I was super excited, and this is my bragging rights. And Rich, I'm going to brag on you, or brag at your expense, I guess.
Okay.
I got to be the first backer on Rich's Kickstarter for Cult of Dracula, and I don't think I've ever had a number 1 before. So I've had number 2. But I was so excited, Rich, to be the number 1 backer on Cult of Dracula because you're a great guy, and I love the book, and I finally got a number 1. And I know I made one of your fans mad, and I apologize.
Oh,
But I got to be number 1 on Rich's Kickstarter, which is
yes, you did, man. I appreciate it, brother. And it's mutual.
Let's talk about Rich and some of the covers that we saw of Cult
my
of Dracula
God, yeah.
while we were there.
Ooh.
So I purchased this cover while I was at Comic
Ah,
Con.
Shannon's.
Shannon
Yeah.
Meyer, yeah.
Shannon's cover, and the cover that I wanted. And Ralph, can you pull that one up? The
Okay,
one
give
that
me
I
a
wanted
sec,
to
I'll
get.
pull it up. Yeah.
These covers are so fantastic. If you are a fan of Dracula, let me just see if I can pull myself up into this so people can see this solo layout. Look at this
Look at
cover.
that. Oh, so gorgeous.
Unbelievable. And this still has this still has the plastic on it, so you really can't see all of the detail. This video is not giving it any justice. But so amazing. As someone who loves Dracula and any Dracula lore, I instantly knew that these were going to be good just by by looking at these. That's what drew me. You know, there's so much content out there written about Dracula as a whole. I mean, that's been going back for ages, but you want something new. If you're someone who's a fan, you want something that's new and that's going to be able to entice you to read it. And that's what this did. It enticed me. So if Ralph can pull that up, if he can find the cover, just give us a little bit about Cult of Dracula for the audience who has never read Cult of Dracula.
Yeah, so Cult of Dracula, exactly as you said, it was kind of a challenge to write because you're dealing with something, a character that has been reproduced in various forms of media more than any other fictional character. So there's a whole legacy that comes along with Dracula, but the audience wants something new. They want exactly what they've had for hundreds of years, but completely different at the same time. So it's the whole Star Wars conundrum. Give it to me exactly like I remember it from my childhood, but different. So it was really a challenge to come up with a way to present Dracula in a new perspective while still holding true to Stoker's original themes and inspirations. So I spent hundreds of hours researching not only Dracula and other vampire lore, but also Stoker himself, because I wanted to find out what was going on in his head when he wrote this. And so when I came up with Cult of Dracula, I think I was able to kind of thread that needle where it is preserving and representing Stoker's intention quite well, but it's doing so from a new feminine perspective. What we do with Cult of Dracula is, rather than Dracula being a stuffy white European dude in a tuxedo, we ask the question, what if Dracula was a woman? And not only a woman, but every dark, outcast, cursed woman who has been forced to the fringes of society, forced to live in the shadows, Tituba, La Llorona, the Wendigo, Baba Yaga, Medusa. All of these women in our universe were Dracula at different times in history, and all that changed was the people who observed her and their cultural background when they observed her. So where the Native Americans saw a Wendigo, people in ancient Greece saw Medusa. And so once we went down that road, it opened up a whole new world of storytelling possibilities. And I'm really happy with the way it came out, and really happy that people are picking it up and enjoying it.
So this is the cover that I wanted.
I love that cover.
This cover was so worth it, and of course I missed the opportunity, but it's a very special cover.
It is.
And can you tell us a little bit about that, Rich?
Yeah. So this is a cover. I honestly, I tear up every time I sign this book. So my wife, Amber, passed away in December of 2020 after a long battle with kidney disease. She needed a transplant, and there were complications with the surgery, and she didn't make it. Shannon wanted to do a tribute cover to her, so he asked if it was okay if he drew Amber as Lucy from the book. And of course, the character of Lucy, the way I wrote her, was very much inspired by my wife, Amber. And so I was 100% on board with that, and very humbled that Shannon would want to do it. And then when he showed me this cover, Shannon Mayer does such incredible work. Everything he does to phone it in. Everything he does is beautiful, but he took extra time and made this extra special. It is a gorgeous cover, and seeing it in photograph form doesn't even do it justice. Because, the simple things like the candles, the way they look like real light sources in there. You can look at this book and it looks like you're watching a candle just flicker. Shannon just knocked this book out of the park. And like I said, I tear up every time someone asks me to sign that cover, because it's a very fitting and beautiful tribute to my wife, who was my biggest supporter, my biggest fan, and also my harshest critic. So,
yeah, it's a gorgeous cover. You're right. That photo does not do it any justice. It literally popped off the page.
It's amazing.
Every detail, oh my gosh.
We try to take so many pictures of it just to capture the way it looks. And it's one of those times where you're like, no, you have to see the cover in person.
Right.
Yeah, you got to see it. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, and our condolences about your wife too.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
But she's definitely immortalized here, and such a gorgeous cover and a tribute to her. So yes, if that ever comes up again, and I don't know, since you only had 2 left, but I highly recommend, if that is something that obviously sells a lot, if you all create any more, I'm going to be the first in line to get one. So it's just
We'll make that
gorgeous.
happen.
Yeah, it's absolutely just unbelievably gorgeous, you know, and just breathtaking too. The details, the only way that Shannon can draw anything, and he is somebody that can actually draw the depth of emotion in a photo, which
my
is
God,
like
yeah,
hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
But he just was amazing. Wonderful tribute.
Yes, it is.
So you all, we have about half an hour
Well, Les,
left.
before we go there, you want to show off the Kickstarters right there.
Yeah, let's do this real quick.
Oh yeah, we're doing a Kickstarter.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
okay,
You know, we're creators. We get so wrapped up in the story, we forget to promote.
Yeah, let's do this Kickstarter. Let's talk about this.
Yeah. And we're so close on this. We're about 66 hours away, and almost to our goal. You know, I was hesitant to do a Kickstarter at first. I'd never done one before, so to do this, SourcePoint had to convince me that they were going to make it special, and it's going to be a premium hardcover library edition format. It's going to include all new content, story content that I promised here live on your show. This story content will never be reprinted in any other form. It'll only be in this hardcover. There's going to be a cover gallery featuring all of the covers that we had for Cult of Dracula. And also, we're going to include my original scripts in the back as well, so people can see. Because I get asked every day, you know, how do you write a comic book script? So I figure, you know, the best way I can answer that question is to show people. So they'll be able to get the scripts in the back. And if you're a person out there who is wanting to write a comic or, you know, hoping to break into the industry, there are a few slots left for backers to get a 30-minute pitch session with me, a member of the art department, and also someone, one of the publishing staff from SourcePoint. So it'll either be Garrett Gunn, Jacob Way, or Travis McIntyre. So literally the three people who can green light your project like that. You can sit and talk to them, to one of them for half an hour, and pick our brains and ask us anything you want. So if you're listening to this and you're hoping to break into the comic book industry, but you're waiting for your shot, well, here's your shot. Take it. Because if you're not willing to spend that small amount of money to launch your career, then maybe you're not as serious about your career as you think you are. So, you know, it's a great opportunity. Plus you get all of the perks for the lower levels. But that 30-minute pitch session for an aspiring comic creator, that's invaluable right there.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's a great Kickstarter. And especially if you love vampires, you have to go and support this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I highly recommend it. You know, so we'll put all of that in post so you all can go and support the Kickstarters that everybody has going forward, and go and purchase some of the older work, some of the stuff that's already out there. You know, it just doesn't start there. It starts from the beginning. So if you love a series, go out there and start buying the volumes 1 until, you know, whatever is the current.
Absolutely.
But definitely do that. All right. So now comes the fun time, you all. This is the fun time. We got through all the business. Let's do this fun stuff. So this is we're going to talk about vampires, since all of us love vampires here. We're going to talk about vampires. So this time of the year, I always revisit several vampire films that I believe are my favorite. And Ralph has one in here too. And you may or may not have seen them. So we're going to ask you if you've seen it, what you thought about it, what you liked about it, and you know why you liked it. So the first film that we're going to talk about this evening, and you might not have never seen this, because I'm like somebody who goes off the deep end when it comes to vampires, because I'm always searching for some kind of vampire content. One that I wanted to revisit last night, and I cannot find a good copy of it. I guess it's maybe on VHS. And so on Prime, they're showing it right now, but it's the VHS copy. And whoever put that copy on Prime, and Prime should be ashamed of it. So it actually wobbles, like, you know, when you remember when your heads were dirty on your VHS, that's what it looks like. Yeah. I was so mad because I was trying to show it to my husband last night. I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a kitschy film, you know, and it's so weird and kooky. but I love this film. And the name of that film is Children of the Night. Have you all seen this?
No.
Oh, I wish I could say I haven't. I haven't.
Okay, so Children
We're all
of the
looking
Night.
like, ooh, what is this?
This was a film that came out in 1991. It was directed by Tony Randell, and it starred Karen Black, Peter DeLuise, and Amy Dolenz.
Oh.
And it follows a young woman and her local school teacher as they try to figure out who this master is that is living in this town that actually comes around, and these women are all beholden to this master. And one of the women that is beholden to this master happens to be Karen Black. And you all know that if Karen Black is in something, it's kind of kooky anyway. But this is probably one of the weirdest performances I've ever seen of Karen Black. A very unique film. And the take on it is that almost that the vampires are like aquatic in a sense. That's how they live. They live in some type of hibernation or something like that. But it's definitely very, very, very different. More different than anything that I've ever seen when it comes to a vampire film. And it is very 1990s corny. That's all I'm going to say. The prosthetics are kind of even gross in this too. But he did a really good job. Now, I think Tony Randall also did some Godzilla movies or something like that. I'm not really sure exactly what he's done in the past. But this might have been one of his first films. So I highly recommend it. Here's Karen Black right now in her prosthetics. She was really an ugly vampire in this. Yeah, totally not the beautiful Karen Black that we all know. She's hideous in this movie, but a very strange, kooky movie. It also has Garrett Morris in it. Do you all remember Garrett Morris from Saturday Night Live?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he plays the town drunk who knows that the vampires are living there.
Movie. How have you never heard of it? Thank you. What a gift.
I know.
Yeah,
I found this on archive.org. It's in the public domain, so you can. I love to watch public domain movies on archive.org. Samurai movies, all kinds of.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something
black
new
and
to
white,
me. I'm going to have to
silent.
watch that. Archive.
But yeah, I don't know if it's a better copy, but I found it. I always archive.org is my go-to for movies.
Oh,
Right on, Greg. Thank you.
so yeah, thank you about that because I'm going to definitely see if I can find watch that one on there. I love that movie, but it's like one of those movies that I revisit every year. Just go back and watch it because it's so kooky.
I've never seen it.
Yeah. So, I'm glad. So now you'll have to tell me what you think about that movie since you've never seen it.
For
All
sure.
right. So the next movie that I wanted to highlight is one. Now I grew up loving. I was one of those kids. I'm telling my age right now that watched Creature Feature on a Saturday night, and my mother used to threaten me when I watched Creature Feature. She said she would allow me to watch Creature Feature if I would not come and bother her in the room, and if I screamed or got scared, I would get a spanking. So I literally would be like this, watching Creature Feature with the blanket over my head, watching it like this.
Right.
Like every Saturday night when it came on. So I am a big fan of the whole Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing type of lore.
The hammer, yeah.
All of my favorite vampire films were, I was introduced to Dracula by Christopher Lee. But this particular film did not have Christopher Lee in it. It is a Hammer style film, which we all know as Hammer does, for some reason, Dracula's in Germany, and that's something I never even figured out for all the Hammer films, that he's always in Germany, but he's supposed to be in Transylvania. And this film is by far one of my all-time favorites, and that is Brides of Dracula.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yes. So I don't know why I love this movie so much more than I love all of the Dracula movies that came out during this time. But this is my favorite, and I have to go and revisit it every time I watch this one. So if this is something that you all like, tell me a little bit of why you like this particular Dracula film.
So I'm like you. I am hugely inspired by the Hammer horror films. As you can see by the A covers for Cult of Dracula, they were all homages to that Hammer horror style. And like you, I used to stay up really, really late on Friday and Saturday nights. There was this little station out of Nashville, Tennessee, and they did, like, I forget what the name of the show was, but it was kind of like an Elvira thing where they showed the movie of the week, the Hammer film. So that's where I watched most of my Hammer films for the first time. And this one was very unique. I think it focused a bit more on the brides, obviously, even though it didn't flesh them out entirely. It really provided a unique perspective on them. And I think this was the first of the Hammer films that established that there was a hierarchy with the brides. One of the brides is on when you see her in the little crypt, her bier is elevated above the others, and so that was usually the brides are presented as like this homogenous hive mind. But I'm pretty sure this was the first film to suggest that there was, a head bride and then two like brides in waiting below her.
Yeah. And if you've never seen this film, you all, let me just give you a little background about this film. It was done in 1960. It's a British supernatural horror film produced by Hammer Film Productions, directed by Terence Fisher. And it stars Peter Cushing, David Peel, Frida Jackson, Yvonne Millar, Andre Melly, and Martita Hunt. Martita Hunt has done a lot of horror films back in the days in the British realm. She's famous for that. And this film is a sequel to the 1958 film Dracula, or we know it as the Horror of Dracula, where the character Count Dracula does not appear in this particular film. Instead, it's mentioned only twice in this film. But Christopher Reeves does make a Christopher Lee does make a reprise in this film as Harker or Van Helsing, actually, or someone who knows of Dracula and is coming there to kill the cult of Dracula, the virus of Dracula. It is really by far one of our favorite films. It's not, because you could definitely see the creepiness of this film. And the Dracula is very handsome and he's very luring. And the main character, the female, she's very stupid. There's a lot of stuff. I guess that was supposed to be innocence that she was supposed to be portraying in this film, because she made me mad watching this with some of the stuff that she did. But if you watch the film, basically, and I'm going to go ahead and let Dirk and Greg talk about this also. This film, this mother has her son, who is a count, chained to his bedroom. And this young woman comes to the house, who's going to be a school teacher, school marm, in the town, and he woos her and she unchains him, only to find out that he is a vampire. It's really, really good. Dirk, what do you like about this movie?
I want to be careful not to start talking about it too much because I won't stop. And I'm curious what the other choices are, but I'll just add in real quick, because I think, Rich obviously just did a master, and both did a masterclass on the film. I love stories that highlight what were institutionally and originally background characters, and that's really what it comes down to me. The appeal of a movie like this one. No offense, it's not so much the plot or the acting or anything else. It is what it is, right? But I love the fact that we're getting a story about the brides. Like Rich said, the hierarchy, we get into the networking of it. Years ago, I did a story for Big Dog Inc. I did The Legend of Oz, the Wicked West. I did what became Volume 4 of the trade paperback collection. And I did a story arc about the origin of the flying monkeys. But I also specifically made it a point to flesh out characters that only appeared in a few panels in the first issue of the series, because every character has a story, right? And to me, that's what's fun to do. Or Brian K. Vaughan did this when he wrote a Walking Dead story. He did a whole story about Rick Grimes' brother, who's only name checked one time in one issue, and we never see him. It's like, oh wait, Rick Grimes is a brother? I wonder what his story is. Where is he? I love that stuff. I love world building. Yeah. So as cheesy or as goofy as it may be at times, I applaud a movie like this because of the world building. And that's the big appeal to me on something like this. It's not my favorite Hammer film. It's not my favorite vampire film, but I respect the fact that we're getting a whole movie dedicated to characters that otherwise are seen as especially one-dimensional. Not that they're terribly more fleshed out in this, but at least we're getting some good premium time.
Thank you. And Greg, what do you love about this film?
I like many of the things that these two gentlemen have said, in that it's, giving shining a light, so to speak, on characters that we don't normally see. But I also like that it kind of messes with the vampire lore, and I really like that also. I don't know if you're going into this, but I also really like the other non-Dracula Hammer movies that are about vampires, like Captain Kronos and Vampire Circus and things like that. I love those movies as well. And I love how at the end of this one, I hope I'm not spoiling anything for anybody, but since I guess I'm trying to figure out how to say it, like they have vampires have a weakness to crosses and crucifixes and things like that. And it comes in an unlikely place at the end of this movie. And I was like, as soon as it clicked into place, I was like, oh, that is so cool. Because when I'm watching a horror movie, I love when I see something. It's like, hey, I've never seen him do that kind of thing before.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's those little twists and turns. And I mean, I'm not proud of, liking the ending of Dracula Untold, but that's the same thing where it's like, oh, he's got a problem with silver. So let's have a fight in like a kind of silver bank or silver mine and stuff. Right. It's like, I like when it's like, okay, somebody's thought about this and they're like, how do we zig instead of zag and give you something that's familiar, but it's got something new, like Rich was talking about.
And in this one too, isn't this when Peter Cushing is bitten in this week, he finds a way to stop the virus, the infection, which is something I've never seen in this lore before either. So it was a really good. There were a lot of things in this that I think that were so appealing to me for somebody who had always watched Hammer films. And shout out to the ones that you did mention, also, Vampire Circus, which is also one of my favorite ones, and Captain Kronos. Which I have so many vampire films that I love. I can only think of like the top of my head which ones I was going to highlight tonight. But those are also excellent, excellent, excellent films. Or how about this? Fearless Vampire Hunters. Do you all remember that one?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, which I did not mention in this at all this evening either, because I wanted to give something that you all knew, because I didn't know if you had seen Fearless Vampire Hunters. So I was kind of pinpointing things that you might know.
You've got the wrong vampire.
By the way, you all, that was one of the best films. That was the first time I ever saw Sharon Tate in a film, and also Roman Polanski. Excellent, excellent. There's a scene in that terrifies me. And I think that you all remember this scene. It's when they're at the ball and they're all dancing in front of the mirror.
Oh.
That scene terrifies me in that. So totally good film. We definitely have to come back and maybe talk about that particular film and have you all back to discuss that. All right, so let's move on to one of Ralph's favorites, because I don't want to not mention his in particular, so he can talk about the one that he likes. So let me just pull that one up. So he chose this one because he absolutely thought that this was his all-time favorite ones. And
these are phenomenal. I'm just blown away right now.
Yeah, that would be this right here, and that is Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh God, I hate that movie.
Either you love it or you hate it.
Yeah, he did say that. We knew we were going to get a couple of reactions. So let me just give the audience a little background on this. It's a 1995 gothic horror film directed by the one and only incomparable Mel Brooks, and it stars Leslie Nielsen and a cast of other characters that are always in Mel Brooks' movies, like Amy Yazbek and Harvey Korman and Bancroft. It just is, it's typical Mel Brooks. Right. And it is a spoof on Bram Stoker's novel Dracula and some of the films that were spawned from Bram Stoker's film Dracula. So, Ralph, tell us why you like this film so much.
Dude, man, just the fact of all the craziness that happens in this movie. You sit there and you know the Dracula story, and they take that whole thing and turn it upside down, and you're like waiting to see what's the next ridiculous thing they're going to do. And it just, I know that it's probably not the best movie in the world, but I just get a great kick out of it. That's what I always get a kick out of Mel Brooks movies, because he really thinks things through. And as stupid as things look, there's always a reason why he's putting it in there. And there's always this thought process that's going on. And there's always this spoof of the greatness that is whatever he's spoofing.
I particularly laughed at this right here because I have to tell you, that when I was a little girl, I was always fascinated by the bosoms of these women that were being, ravaged.
I was like that as a little girl too.
Yeah, I did. I was like, ooh, when am I going to be like that? I was always thinking that.
Bustier girl, they can do amazing things when I get. As evidence,
amped up, basically. But go ahead. What do you all think about this? Let's start with Greg first.
I'm a sucker for the there he is.
There it goes.
Oh man, I'm a sucker for the Leslie Nielsen stuff, because this is one that's got Mel Brooks sensibilities and Leslie Nielsen
exactly
in it. And I love the Naked Gun movies. The what was that? I just blanked on it. Like the airplane movies. There we go. That's
my God, Airplane.
Yeah.
Where it's just like
Call Me Shirley.
all these very silly gags, and I'm like, I love when Mel Brooks does stuff that like I don't think anybody but Mel Brooks would get away with. Like there's a lot of stuff in all of his movies where I'm like, this is entertaining, but something about like it's okay because it's Mel Brooks, right? Like if somebody else tried to do some of this stuff, it'd be like, oh, this is corny or stupid. But I'm like, I'm all on board, I like Young Frankenstein better, but that's me.
I completely love Young
Frankenstein. Me too.
Better.
Well, that's my favorite.
Yeah, but this is, this is funny.
All right, and go ahead, Rich. What do you think about this? Because you said you hated it so much.
So, secret about me, I don't like comedy. So
that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Mel Brooks does some of the best, worst comedies that I've ever seen, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Comedy's not my thing, especially cringe-worthy comedy with, embarrassing, awful people. And that just seems like every possible Mel Brooks movie ever made. So I have a deep respect for Dracula Dead and loving it, but I hate it.
And that picture comes up, right? And I hate it.
Oh my goodness!
Although the scene with the mirror was, and it was a ballroom scene too. So
right.
It was pretty cool when he realizes I have no reflection.
Well, I think they definitely played off of.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. You can see that he craftily went through all those movies and decided this is what we're going to spoof.
Yeah. And Mel Brooks is brilliant in that regard. Everything that he puts in, like you said, is so well thought out, and it's wonderful comedy. I'm just not a comedy guy.
All right. So we got that. So we know that you don't like to mix. Do you like to mix comedy with horror?
I do. I mean, hey, in Cult of Dracula, you see several babies get their heads cut off. I think that's funny.
It's always funny, right?
Well, with that, let's look at
there's a tweet.
That is definitely right. Okay, we definitely gonna get in trouble on that one. But listen. Speaking of that, let's talk about the one that did marry comedy and horror together, that did it very well. And it is by far one of my favorite all-time vampire films. And I am not talking about the new version. I am talking about the old version of Fright Night.
Yeah.
And
you're so cool, Brewster.
Yes. So if you've never seen this before, and you may be hiding under a rock, this is a 1985 American comedy horror film written and directed by Tom Holland and produced by Herb Jaffe. And it stars Chris Sarandon, William Ragsdale, Roddy McDowall, Amanda Beers, and Jonathan Stark, amongst other people. And the film follows a young Charlie Brewster who discovers that his next door neighbor, Jerry Dandridge, is a vampire. And nobody believes that he sees this vampire next door. So he enlists the aid of a old school 1950s bad beat movie vampire hunter by the name of Peter Vincent, played by Roddy McDowall, to go and help him discover if his next door neighbor is truly a vampire. By far one of the best films I have ever seen. And I have to tell you that there were so many shocks in this, but at the same time, there was a joke right after it that made you laugh. It was really, I went to go see this film by myself. Actually, no, I went with my friend Shanita to go see this film. She talked me into go seeing it, and I'm telling you, it's the top 5 of all of my favorite vampire films.
Wow. It
Mostly
is
different.
I would agree with that hands down. It's brilliant.
It's very 80s, very much that feel, everything, the music, the clothing, everything about it just gives you such good feels because it was that time, you know, it was the 80s. So let's start with Dirk on this one. Dirk, tell us what you like or dislike about this film.
Oh no, I was afraid it was going to come to this. I was going to volley instead and talk about there's actually some really cool Fright Night comics, including Tom Holland's Fright Night, the Peter Vincent Chronicles.
What?
Yeah.
This is new to me. I didn't know that. Oh my gosh, so much good material here, you all tonight.
Right, yeah, and I'm bringing this up because of the fact, and I could dodge this, but I'm going to jump on the stake.
As we see Dirk MF Manning.
Yeah. Hey Riley.
Yeah,
hey.
definitely.
You pulled my punk card.
Okay.
I've never seen Fright Night.
What?
You've never seen? You have never seen Fright Night?
I'm gonna tell you why. Now, Rich, before you give me any,
what does that MF stand for? In Dirk Manning.
Oh my God!
Hold on. It's because, like Rich, I normally don't like comedies.
I feel you.
And what happened was everybody I know talks about how good this movie is, but the percentage of comedies I like is so small that if I'm going to have to dedicate an hour and a half to watch a film, I would rather, I don't know, watch Friday the 13th Part 7 again than watch Fright Night. And I did recently promise, I saw her on the stream as well, my editor, Adrian and Joe, because here's the thing, Tales of Mystery Volume 6 is about vampires.
Woohoo!
Right? And in fact, there's a pledge level on the current campaign where you, in Volume 6, you can be a victim or a vampire in the next volume, drawn into.
Ooh.
Love it.
And this came up to editor Adrian Joe, who is booing me right now in the feed, which is what makes this even worse. But I promised her that at some point I will watch Fright Night and give her a review. I said I would do it around Halloween time. And then I booked 10 shows and 10 conventions in 13 weeks. So I have been Fright Night-less. The clock is ticking. I have 6 days left to watch Fright Night before Halloween. And I've yet to see it. But the fact that all of you who are of a high caliber of taste are talking about this movie so highly, as well as everyone I know likes this movie, I hereby vow I will do my best to watch it by Halloween to watch Fright Night, the original, because everyone I know likes it, but I've always avoided it because I'm just not a comedy guy. You know, well, I think most horror comedy, it's very hard to do horror comedy well without being cliche and goofy. There is some good ones. Tucker and Dale versus Evil is
phenomenal. That's pretty funny.
Evil Dead 2, of course, is
great. Dirk, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna make a bet. I'm gonna make a bet with you. Go ahead. No. If you don't like this film, then I'm gonna owe you. What's your favorite candy?
Ice cream, of course.
Ice cream. Okay, so I owe you some ice cream. If you don't like it, then if you do like it, then
she's gonna break both your legs.
No, you owe me some ice cream because I love ice cream.
I'll tell you what, Les. I will bet you a triple.
Okay.
Ooh. Wow.
I'll bet you a triple.
All right.
Because you know what? The fact that everyone here, everyone I know loves this movie, and then part of it to me is like, and I'm not trying to damn the movie with faint praise, but it's like this. I'm afraid the movie's been overhyped to me over the years. I'm afraid I'm going to watch it and be like, well, it's okay, you know, and then bummed out, and then I'm going to be mad that I'm disappointed because I waited so long. So I'm going to be mad at myself. But I'm gonna remove all baggage. I'm going to start blank slate, and I'm going to do my darndest to watch Fright Night. If not by Halloween, definitely by Christmas.
Oh,
Okay.
great Christmas
Oh,
movie.
no, that's
Moving
too
the
far away. Too
goalposts.
far away. Yeah.
Too far. Okay. Thanksgiving.
What are you saying? You were moved.
Drina said you're gonna
I'm doing
lose.
10 shows at 10 conventions in 13 weeks right now, but I will watch it by Thanksgiving. I promise all of you out there. I promise you, all of you, my friends. If anyone's looking for an editor, there you go.
There you
That's
go.
what an
You got
editor's like
October
right there.
27th. October 27th. You've got to watch it.
That's 2 days.
I don't think that-
It's only a
Since you
90-minute movie.
I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I think
No,
is
it would
worth
make
the
such a
watch.
good triple feature since you're
Yeah.
talking about like betting triple ice cream.
Mhm.
So good with like the Burbs and Lost Boys.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
I love the Burbs and I love Lost Boys.
You know
Well,
what?
If you
I
love
think
the
you're gonna
Burbs,
love
you're
this
gonna
film.
love
You're gonna
it
love
right
this
now.
film. Yeah, you're gonna love
Okay.
this film.
See that? Where were you guys 20 years ago?
Monster Squad, it's in that vein. It's in that
I wasn't
vein.
old enough to watch movies
I
like
love
that when I was
Monster
20 years
Squad.
ago. So.
I,
I will be there watching it. Just to get really creepy. Let's go to the next film.
no. We still have to. We have to get. Okay, so we have to get Greg's opinion on Fright
All
Night.
right.
No, I love it. I love all the little throwbacks and stuff like that. That you've got this like like whole TV host persona thing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's goofy. It's weird. I haven't seen the remake. I had heard not to, but
Please don't.
It's-
Please
Colin
don't.
Farrell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah,
do
I
that.
almost watched that one.
Oh,
It will leave
no,
it
no.
will leave,
I'm going
it will leave
original.
such a bad taste in your mouth. Please don't look at
All
that
right.
one.
I got you.
But no, it's a lot of fun, and it's like a whole bunch of like Hitchcock concepts of like, are you crazy? No, you're not crazy. This is really real, and spying on neighbors and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. It's a really good just Halloween movie. Like to me, Halloween is sure that's scary, but it's fun too, and I think it's just a lot of fun.
I think it might have been the inspiration a little bit to the whole kitschiness of Josh Whedon's Buffy the Vampire Slayer too.
I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the comedy mixed with the horror and the clueless mother, the clueless parent knowing what's going on. I mean, it just is such a great. Yes, I he is. I have to tell you.
Nobody's saying Dirk's smart in the comments.
Hey, Greg, you looking for an editor? Your schedule's about to get a lot freer.
All right, so let's go to Rich. Rich, what do you love about this film?
It's hard to find something I don't love about Fright Night. Because Fright Night is funny, but the comedy is more. It's used very cleverly to relieve stress of the very intense horror scenes that you're seeing. It's very Shakespearean in its layout. Shakespeare was a master at putting the gravediggers right between Ophelia's suicide and then the big finale at the end where everybody dies, because that the audience can only take so much drama. And Fright Night does a masterful job of giving you a joke at just the right moment when you can't take any more fear, and it makes you laugh and it prepares you for the next scene. So Fright Night, one of the top 5 best vampire films of all time.
Well, it's
And
also
you
really
just
consistent with the
compared to
characters. It's not like jokes just for jokes' sake. It's,
Exactly.
you can believe that these characters say it. It's not like wink and nudge at everybody.
Yeah, it's humor that feels natural. It's like, you're in this horrible situation, and then something funny happens, just like in real life, and it seems very natural, like it belongs. There's no cringy awkwardness. Nobody forgets what a chicken looks like. It's just bad Arrested Development.
And by far one of the best seduction scenes ever in a film. One of the best seduction scenes.
It's a hot movie, man. I love it.
It's really good. Yes, I do remember this scene. Yeah.
Okay.
Dirk's on
I was
board.
gonna say, you're so cool, Brewster.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Yeah, you heard me say it in the beginning. It's such a memorable line, and when it comes out, I'm not gonna ruin it. When it comes, you're like, oh.
Yeah, such a good film.
I got people quoting the movie, compared it to Shakespeare. Everything else.
Yeah.
It is. It's really a
Here,
good.
here I
it's
am,
really
like an
good.
idiot, reading Macbeth when apparently I should have been watching Fright Night.
Yeah, exactly. See,
All right.
That doesn't have a rhyming title.
All right, so now I'm going to introduce one that maybe you probably have not seen either. Okay.
I hope I have.
You hope you have.
I hope I have, just to get my cred back.
I don't think you have seen this one. I don't think you have seen this one. So Dracula has been done several times, but it was done as a made-for-TV movie back in 1974. And I, of course, love Dracula so much. I couldn't wait to see this version of Dracula, and it is Dracula with Jack Palance playing Dracula.
Yes, I have.
What?
Yes, I have.
What?
I swear to you, I have, and I love it.
Yes. So have you all seen this one?
I have not.
It's on Prime right now.
Wait, I'm looking at this poster. Is this like repurposed from like the third City Slicker script? Because
The Legend of Pearl's Blood.
Hilarious. So people don't know who Jack Palance is. Yes, most of us remember him being in that film, but this was a 1974 British made-for-television Gothic film horror that was the adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it was written by Richard Matheson and directed by Dark Shadows creator Dan Curtis. With Jack Palance, yes, in the title role. It was the second collaboration for Curtis and Palance after the 1968 TV film The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This was amazingly done. That's all I have to say. Amazingly done. I never thought I would see.
I've seen that many times. That picture,
Yes, it was so well done, you all. It totally changed my whole perspective of who Jack Palance was growing up as a kid. Yeah. We saw Jack Palance in his TV shows that he was on, in the 70s, but this changed the game for me. So well done. So well done. So just unbelievably well done. And it is showing on Prime right now, so I highly recommend you all check it out. I would say that it's very close to the book itself, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Very well done. So
I'm running with this one after I got just jumped last time. Incredibly authentic. Jack Palance is phenomenal in this. I think his performance homages a lot of the more famous Dracula roles, but he owns it. He owns it. It's a Richard Matheson script. You guys are all sitting there watching Fright Night when you could be watching Richard Matheson, adaptations of Dracula.
We can watch both.
You're right. I apologize. I went too hard. I'm going to dial that one back. I was geeked up. No, this is a fantastic movie. I'm so glad you brought this up. I haven't thought about this in years. And the minute the poster came up, all these images of watching this at my grandparents' house comes back to me. Just because Jack Palance reminds me of my grandpa anyway and stuff like that. So there was, even to me, there was this little bit of creepiness in this guy, like the gray temples. Absolutely. As much as all of you love Fright Night, I'm sure I love this movie at least. I mean, it just 1,000 times yes. Possibly, I might go as far to say, now that this movie's popped back on my radar again, it might be my favorite Dracula. Not my favorite vampire movie, but my favorite Dracula.
I have to agree with you. My parents talked about this film all the time. They talked about this. Whenever we would talk about any Dracula movie or we were watching any Dracula movie, they would always say, but nobody could do it as well as Jack Palance did in the TV show.
Right.
They always came back to him in particular on this one. This was so well done. Let me just go back to the picture itself. But I mean, he embodied that role. He embodied that role. This is when I knew he was a tour de force as an actor. He was already a good actor, but I knew then he was. Yeah.
It was actual horror instead of like, hey, what's a Dracula movie? You're watching this going, I am getting feelings here.
And it's made for TV, and it's scary, and it's intense. It's just
very intense.
Palance brought a gravitas to this role, because I mean, Bela Lugosi's, I've been parodied a million times now. As Dracula is Dracula for 99% of people in the world. That's fine, but Jack Palance has a gravitas without the corniness.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I'm not saying anything ill about Bela Lugosi or anything else, but he's just intense and frightening.
Yeah.
You are in the
Very
presence of a predator who owns you the second he enters the room.
Yeah.
He
and you feel
owns
it.
You are no longer on your own clock. You're on his clock every
are.
time he's there.
And they said this. They said that this is the most faithful to the novel of any of the cinematic variations of the film. Of the
check
book.
that out.
Yeah, of the book. Very well
wow,
done.
what a great pull. What
Yeah.
a great I haven't thought like I said, it all came rushing back as soon as I saw it. How my God,
Well, you can watch it on Prime because it is on Prime. And I plan on watching it for my Halloween, when I do my little film festival.
This is where we have my double feature. I'm going to have Fright.
All right.
Yeah,
this
there
will be
you
my
go.
double feature.
That sounds good. That sounds
You guys
good.
need to watch it. I mean, that is just.
It's a great
Thank
movie.
you. What a gift to bring that back. I just hadn't thought of that movie in years.
Yeah.
So good.
And since Greg and Rich have not seen it, Ralph, did you see it? Have you seen it before?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I was just saying, it actually creeps you the heck out. It actually your watch is so intense that you're sitting there, your stomach turns, you're and I saw this as a kid, so I can tell you this gave me nightmares.
And it has the whole Dark Shadows feel to it. If you are a fan of Dark Shadows, which we were
you
growing
can see that this guy was the guy who did Dark Shadows. You can see it.
Yeah,
it has that feel to it.
So very good.
He's so intense, and he's not over the top. But it just like I said, he's probably one of the, gosh, like I said, it's all flooding back to me, this movie. I think I actually repressed it a little bit because it did. It gave me nightmares. I mean, I'm curious to watch it now to see what it would do. Yeah. But he was so
intense.
Yeah. Like we joke about City Slickers, right? He was like a real hardcore dude in that movie still. He was like that intense guy.
Yeah.
But imagine him doing that for real in a horror movie. And then he's Dracula.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents never stopped talking about this particular version of Dracula.
Yeah.
He was best. So listen, we have 1 minute left. I could go on to talk about all kinds of Dracula movies and why we love them and everything like that. It's up to you all. We can do one last film. It's up to you all. Or we can just go ahead and close out the night and maybe have you back again so we could talk about more vampire horror.
If I may, I don't mean to hijack anything. Can we maybe talk about just name drop a favorite vampire movie?
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that.
I'm going to put you guys on the spot, but I have one that was not on the list.
Okay, all right. Let's do a quick round. Favorite vampire movie.
My favorite vampire movie that was not on this list. Possibly my favorite horror movie of all time. Let the Right One In.
Oh, that one.
Yes.
To me,
yes.
That again, and I'll say this and I'll move it on. My one sentence commentary on this movie. I had thought there was nothing new to do with vampires until I watched that movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now the American remake, Let Me In, it's fine. I mean, it's fine. Whatever, it's fine.
Functional.
And the original is a Swedish. It's subtitled. Watching subtitles, just I don't care if you like subtitles or not. Take the time to watch this movie. Let the Right One In.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite horror movie of all time.
I don't think that Americans can actually translate foreign films very well. I don't know what that is, but that also happens with Japanese horror. We just don't do it well. We don't do it like the original.
Yeah.
And the Let the Right One In is definitely by far one of my top horror vampire films. It's really good. And it's totally not what you expect.
No, not at all.
Totally not what you expect when it comes to vampire.
The remake is too on the nose. Let the Right One In. Sorry, I'm done. Next.
Yeah. Okay. Rich, what is yours?
So I love Let the Right One In. I'm going to go, my favorite recent vampire film is a Netflix original film called Blood Red Sky. And it is so damned good.
It is.
Because you take that intensity. If you've seen World War Z, And that scene on the airplane, how terrifying it is. You're 30,000 feet and the zombie apocalypse breaks out on your airplane. In Blood Red Sky takes that intensity for the entire freaking film. And I loved it. I've watched it probably 5 times this month because I've enjoyed it so much. And it's wonderful, and it's on Netflix right now, so highly recommend. Definitely my favorite recent vampire movie.
I can co-sign on that. I just recently watched it, and I thought it was amazing. I thought it was amazing. It was very emotional and extremely intense.
Yeah, it gets you right here in the heart, man. It's and I love that about when you can take horror and you can give it a human side to it and make you actually care about the characters. It's wonderful, and I love the way it presents the vampire mythology in a completely unique way that you don't see coming, really.
Yep, I agree. I totally agree with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, highly recommend that you all watch it, check it out, and let us know what you all think about that film. And Greg, what is your favorite?
I'm gonna cheat here because we were talking about horror comedies. I really like Stakeland, and I'm also a superhero guy, so I love Blade. I love all the Blade movies.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go way back because we talked about Hammer horror, but we didn't talk about Universal Studios. I'm gonna recommend Dracula's Daughter. If you haven't seen it, it's a good movie. It does something a little different, and it's really fun and punchy, and it's got this classic. Plus, I watched it with my girlfriend. She got scared, grabbed my arm. That's a good idea. That's the kind of thing you want to watch. So, yeah.
Dracula's, oh my gosh, I haven't heard that one in a long time. Dracula's Daughter. That was actually very good. That was very good.
It is good. Like they did Son of Dracula with Lon Chaney. It's okay, but like I really highly recommend Dracula's Daughter. It's doing some new stuff. It's way ahead of its time. And I love the Universal Studios Monsters. Those are a huge influence on Monstrous, as are the Hammer Studios movies. So, yeah.
Greg, actually, Blade 2 was on this list.
I could do more, but I'll stop at 3.
It's okay. Blade 2 was actually on my list. For time, we didn't get to do that, but that is by far by Guillermo del Toro, one of my favorite all-time vampire films.
Greg's recommendation was so good. Rich left to go watch it right now.
I was going to say the same thing.
I think Rich has,
he's out. He's like, stay up.
Yeah, he's in his car. He's got to go get the, his forever friend or whatever. And Ralph, what is your favorite?
I watch a lot of vampire movies, and I played the game Vampire the Masquerade. And I was looking for something that felt like the game, and Underworld felt like playing Vampire the Masquerade. It has the guns, it has the leather. It's like the Matrix version of Vampire. And it's so much fun to watch. And it's very superhero-y. It has all these aspects in it, and I just love how badass it is, and and I love strong female characters, and that's a strong female character.
Yeah, it's kind of like Resident Evil for vampires and werewolves.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, there is one that I did not mention that I really, really do love, and it's not on my list, and that's Innocent Blood. And I don't know if you all have ever remembered that one, where where this girl, vampire, is killing guys in the mafia. By far, one of my favorite all-time films. And I did not mention it here this evening because I have so many my favorite vampire films to see, but I highly recommend Innocent Blood. And maybe we could come back and do like a recap on our favorite films and why we love it. That was such a unique take on it. It was very New York, very mafia. I mean, if you can think of mirroring a mafia film with a vampire, then that's the film with some little comedy in there. That's the film.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't speak over you. I just got so excited.
Oh my God!
What a great and I saw that right around the same time I saw Jack Palance's Dracula. So again, you had like the two, and they complement each other in a really weird way.
In a weird way.
Innocent Blood has been always one of my favorite vampire movies because it's a gangster mafia vampire film.
And with all the mafia guys that in a lot of the films that we
see. And if I don't know if it's funny to other people, but there's a lot of stuff in it that I thought was really funny.
Yeah. That's why you're gonna like Fright Night
comedies, but it was good. It was like I said, one of my favorite vampire films by a mile.
All right.
It's very sexy. French, very sexy French mafiosa.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can combine all of that and a love story at that, There's a couple of yeah, totally one of my favorite
Mm.
films.
All right, before we finish, I have to say that my favorite vampire moment in any movie is Paul Rubin dying.
Yeah.
And I had to mention it because
Yes.
I'll go back to Buffy the Vampire Slayer just to watch that scene.
Yeah.
And then watch the ending credit.
Right.
He's still going.
He's still going.
Right.
I love Paul Rubens.
Oh
Well,
my
ladies
God.
and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you to our illustrious guests, Greg, Dirk, Rich, wherever Rich is. Rich, saying
Take
goodbye
care of
to
your
you.
poor baby, Rich.
We would love to have you come back so we can talk about more horror and films. Unfortunately, we're going to have to do that maybe next year, unless you all come back in a week or so before Halloween. But I know that Dirk is very busy. Greg, I don't know you know, but we've got more to talk about, more films and stuff
Always,
like that. Just,
always.
you know,
I love it. I love it.
yeah. Thank you.
Anytime,
Thank you. I'm
anytime.
glad you all had
Thank
fun.
you. Thank you for the chance.
Thank you. So with that being said, we'll be back next Monday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Please make sure that you go and support our artists that we featured here this evening and their GoFundMes and everything. There's their Kickstarters that are going on right now. And we will try to put everything in post probably this week so that you all can see and go and support them and look at all of their content. Buy their old content as well. Like I said, it just doesn't start with the Kickstarter. It's gone on from the past. So make sure you buy all of their other material as well and support our wonderful artists that we had on here. You guys are so amazing. I'm not saying that because I like you. I'm just saying it because it's the truth. But thank you so much. And it's really, I really enjoy getting to know you all a little better each time you all come on our show. So thank you for doing that. All right, folks. See you next Monday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Take care.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy viewing, everyone.
Halloween.
Yes. And
Support
we can't
good
wait
horror
to,
comics.
yeah, we can't wait to hear Dirk's what he thinks about Fright Night and all the other films that were featured here this evening for the
Next time
guys
I'm
who've
back,
not seen
that'll
it.
be the first thing we can talk about.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye now.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.